This is Red Dog Terrain. Welcome back to the shed. Today we're building a blacksmith shop. On my board of things to build is a blacksmith shop. I searched around and found inspiration from these 4 pieces. The forge on the last one is superb. I knew I wanted a removable awning and a chimney going through it, so I figured it would be best to plan out a little. I taped down some paper and hammered out a rough sketch. I used to draw a lot, but since I started building terrain, I haven't done it as much. I don't miss it. Building terrain is more fun for me. With my fancy new DIY circle jig that I made a few videos back, I cut a perfect circle. And by moving the wire back, I can cut a bevel on the circle. These pieces would make up the majority of the forge. I stacked them up, pinned them together, and sliced off the back. With this, they'll sit flush against the wall, and doing so makes the forge look like it's more incorporated into the wall. Then I carefully cut out the opening. I don't know what that part is called. The mouth? The opening? The door? If you know, let me know in the comments. But for now, I'm just going to call it the forge hole. I stacked up a few more pieces and then cut shallow lines midway through each piece. I also cut in the bricks and emphasized them with a pen. I need to find a better way to individualize the bricks. After Mod Podge and paint, they lose their definition. While I have a moment, I want to tell you about something very exciting. Red Dog Terrain will be at its first con. I'll have a booth at the Louisiana Retro Exchange. It is a one-day con in Pineville, Louisiana, and I would be so thrilled if you came out and said hello. A ball of aluminum foil rolled across the stones gives it a good texture. I pinned and glued the forge together, and it's looking pretty close to my original idea. Next, I moved on to the wall behind the forge. This is pretty basic stuff. The only thing really different is I added a few large square blocks in with the simple bricks. While Past Me does that, I'll let you enjoy some of the music by IAH. I glued and pinned the forge to the wall, and then I moved on to the roof. The roof is where I diverted from my original drawing the most. This should be a playable piece, and having that gabled roof would greatly limit that. I cut a few thick beams, and then I glued and pinned them into a wonky N shape. With my gnarly wire brush, I textured them. I went heavy with the texture this time. I had a little visitor in the shed. I'm not sure what kind of insect this is, but living next to a large field, I get lots of little visitors. Some diagonal supports gave it more support. I would eventually add more. Having the sides and front open made it feel more fragile, but I really wanted this to be a playable piece and allow people to go in from all sides. A thin piece of dollar store foam board made the roof. I measured out where the chimney would go and used a bottle to make the circle. The fit wasn't perfect. In fact, there was a large gap in the front of the roof, but the glue on the beams had already dried. Off camera, I would add a bit more foam to hide the gap. I put 2 globs of paint on the beams and pressed them into place. This would give me the exact spots to cut holes for the magnets. I would fight with these magnets for the rest of the build. They kept coming out and the glue just wouldn't hold. On the Proxon, I cut some simple shingles like you've seen me do before. I textured them with my gnarly wire brush and then began to glue them into place. And with that, the build phase was done. Next comes paint and flaw, but to see that, you'll have to check back in 2 weeks. But for now, here's a sneak peek.